as they for since time immemorial. But how to conduct this thing that we call education? What is the best fit? Do we pick up a system from another country as a whole and just fit it here? What works for us? What doesn't? What is the purpose of our education? Education for what? Where are we in Ghana? If we probably do all the courses that Switzerland does, we might run into problems. We are not at the same place. So a lot of pre-thinking goes into it. And then decisions are made at a higher level. Ghana being signatory to a lot of these conventions, then it becomes the job of the government of the day to make sure that these things happen. The success with which that happens is relative. Because sometimes it may be an international thing, and I know at a point you're going to ask me about CSC.
Yes.
But what the country wants may be different. But the idea is that if the world has decided that this is progress, this is good for us, within the bounds of what we as a country accept, then it is expected that the government will let it happen. And that is what we are there to make sure happens.
All right. So we are looking at the United Nations, a body, and all the countries, over 190 countries together. We plan that this is what is happening in all the world, or this is what is affecting us as a people. And so this is what we want everybody to do. So you go there and then you listen to it. You also tell them what you also have home. That's challenges or whatever decisions you also want to make, and then you dialogue on that, and then you come and tell us, and then you make sure that those things are implemented, so that we achieve the same result that everyone is achieving elsewhere. But then in doing that, you are also looking at some of the things, like you said, that if Germany, for example, is doing something and Ghana want to repeat or copy that, it may not give us the results that they may be having. Now, let me quickly ask this question about sexuality education. For example, I think recently there was an issue of, there was this discussion about whether we should allow some form of sex education, and the Christian Council and other bodies came up, and at a point we didn't hear about it again. The things that are decided there, the decisions that are made at the UNESCO as a body, when you come to a place like Ghana, do you consider things like our culture, tradition in implementing those decisions that will be the decision that will be made there? And then secondly, what's your take on that? Because when I look at some of the things you do, you are more into educating more about health. You do a lot of things about health. You do a lot about child education. You do talk about STDs, sex and all that. So I'm looking at how we blend all this to make sure that we are achieving the results that other countries may be achieving in terms of teaching our girls especially how to keep themselves. I had Miss Lomo, who is a house mistress for Stopford at Achimota School here, telling us that some of the girls are so naive, for example, and sometimes they stand for I see these girls hugging these boys, and they don't even understand. Some of the hug will go a long way. Like they can send it, and they are able to tell them, now this is not just an ordinary hug, and so you stop, you get it. So a lot of education about our sex life and things like that. Looking at tradition, culture, sexuality education in Ghana, what's your take on it?
I'm sitting in this chair as the Secretary General of the Ghana Commission for UNESCO. So let me tell you what our take. It's important to start by saying that UNESCO is not the main UN body that deals with sexuality education. In fact, in Ghana, as a government agency, the Population Council is the lead on all things to do with population, etc. So this discussion on CSC, I'm aware that it really polarized the country. People are standing in very entrenched positions. Rather than add to the debate, I just wanted to say that what we agree on, I think, as a country, is that we should have a people. What we agree on as a country is that we should have an informed generation. We have been, in my opinion, compared to others, a really conservative country, maybe for good reason. You asked about our culture. But our culture is information goes to young people only on a need to know basis.
Okay.
A need to know historically had been probably when they reached puberty or just before they were about to get married, etc. But our times have changed. You know that puberty physically is happening to young people even earlier. You know that the internet and bigger schools and boarding schools means young people are exposed to a lot of things earlier. And so we are finding that waiting till a week before marriage or before or just at puberty they have their menstruation may be already too late. The question, I think, is what are the young people being told? And in my opinion, and here I'm speaking as an individual, that is where Ghanaians are afraid. No one wants their 5-year-old to be told that it's their choice to be
but they know, they already know.
But our point actually was that no one, as far as UNESCO and the other UN bodies are concerned, is intending to do so.
Okay.
The NACA, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, came out clearly to say that was not the intention. Of course, the people who sit down to put together our curricula are very experienced. They come from all. We have representatives of the Christian Council, the Muslim Council, just to make sure that we don't lose who we are in trying to educate our people.
Okay.
And so at no point was that the intention.
Okay.
If anybody had taken the time to look at the curriculum, it was to start by just explaining to young people that we are different. There are two genders, whether we like it or not. There are males and there are females. That realization, that awareness, and how different we are as we grow, we thought young people should grow with that information.
Okay.
So in bits and pieces, as they grow at an accelerated level, they were going to get this information. There is a lot of naivety in the system. A lot of pregnant young girls who did not know they could get pregnant just after having sex for the first time, etc. So that was kind of what that issue was. But you're asking if we take into consideration our culture. Of course we do. And that is why you do not see us implement everything.
Okay.
Is it good for us? Are we there? You would recall that the president categorically said, not under my watch.
Yes.
This is not going to happen.
Yes.
I believe you noticed he didn't say, I believe this is wrong or it's right. He said we are not going to do it.
Okay.
So it is not to say that we are standing on a place of what is right and what is wrong necessarily as far as our work is concerned. We are saying that we are a people. In belonging to the UN, our sovereignty is also important. And what we hold dear must also prevail. So we weigh that carefully.
Okay.
And like in the case of the CSE, if we think that people are very much against it, no one pushes it on. Although I have a feeling that conversation is not there. They will have to come back at some point.
Yes, because I was going to ask you, is it having effect on us? You've been going around schools and see these young girls as you interact with them. Do you think not implementing that is affecting them?
I do, frankly. We are working on a project on tolerance, anti-bullying. UNESCO recently chose the first Thursday in November as a day to highlight issues of bullying. And as a country, we don't highlight it enough. It goes on all around us in our schools, and we have almost made it the norm. We are speaking to a few telcos looking for sponsorship because we think that we should begin to tell young people that they should tolerate each other. People don't need to be like you for you to be able to work or live with them.
Yes.
And it's important. Somehow in that conversation is that understanding of the different sexes. And if we don't, the boys bully the girls, they laugh at them for various reasons. The girls laugh at the boys for various reasons. The girls laugh at each other for various over body types, over how long it's taking them to grow a beard, things like that. And so eventually we would need to go back to that education, just so that we understand that in Ghana we are lucky, we come from different tribes, we speak different languages, we have different foods. So already the foundation has been laid for us to understand that differences does not mean one person is better. You taste all the food, they are all delicious. You listen to all the languages, they are communicating. So already, if we want to, we understand that people can be different, but can also be just like us, or even better than we are. And so, yes, that conversation needs to be had.
So, in terms of educating people like Ghanaians to understand some of these things, because I think that for the lack of understanding of some of these things is why sometimes we talk a lot about some of the policies and implementation that government may want to put in place. Are we educating the people enough? For instance, before coming up with this kind of idea, did we go through that process of preparing people to appreciate the fact that something like that's important, or will come out and say it and the people will speak again, that we slow down?
I think this particular issue, when it came out the last time, unfortunately took both a political and a religious, which it shouldn't have, because it's an education issue. But if you listen to the people who were the technical experts on this, they said that Ghana has been offering a form of sexuality education since the 70s. We have been speaking about it in moral education. We have been. It's just the extent and whether we need to improve upon it. Start it earlier. But is that thoughts? I mean, what do you mean starting it earlier? Are you going to begin to, or are you going to start in a particular way? And like I said, the experts sat down. Remember, I'm only a technocrat.
Yes.
Actual experts sat down. All Ghanaians, mind you, and I know there's all this talk about being forced by foreigners to do something they don't want to.
Yes.
But the actual work that went on, it was academics, it was clerics, people who understand doctors who put this together and debated among themselves. No, at this age, that's too much information. Let's dial it down, etc. And we've been having this education in various places. There are NGOs and government bodies who do it in schools, in churches, among youth groups. So it goes on. I think the issue was when it was going to become part of our curriculum. Wholesale. Your question is, do we do enough education? I think so. This time the issue was that not enough was done. But you would realize that post that a series of engagements were held. People had their say. They were able to come out and speak. And I am hopeful, because remember, once the decisions are made at the UN and we bring it, we are not the ones implementing. We just keep asking that the NACA will take a look at it, and probably in a form that takes into consideration people's concerns. A better one.
All right, thank you very much. So we are here with the Secretary General of UNESCO Ghana Commission, Mrs. Amansewa Tete, and we are talking about their involvement in Ghana's education. So let's look at science in Ghana. I've seen a lot of the projects you've been involved in, science, mathematics. The president talks about TVET. TVET has been equipped so much. We have a lot of TVET centers now, very much equipped. Then STEM came up, and we're talking about science, technology, and mathematics as what is required in this 21st century. All countries that are moving on are into the STEM education. Is it the right way to go? What should we do as a people? Should we support it? Should we sit unconcerned? What should we do as a people towards STEM and TVET education?
STEM has been with us, TVET education as well. It is our attitude as a people that is changing. TVET, for instance, we had this idea that anyone who could not do well or who could not hack it in mainstream education should venture into TVET. Because let's face it, most of the time it's kind of aesthetic work. It's brawn. You are an engineer, you're highly educated, but you are underground. You are in a gutter, you are building, etc. And I think it's because of our colonial background and how we saw our colonial masters in the ties in the offices while we did the hard work, that we thought that was what we could aspire to. But our world is changing rapidly. In fact, it has been changing for a long time. And we've known this, that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is the way to go. Unfortunately, over the years, we have educated so few of them that we do not have enough of the skill set to develop the way we would want to. And that is why I believe the Ministry of Education has placed this emphasis on it, especially for girls. Especially for girls, not because boys do not need to be educated. Already, the figures show that the percentages are skewed in favor of boys. That is fine, except that in Ghana we are almost 50-50.
Okay.
So for anything to work really well, you need as many females doing it as males. Especially when you think that engineers and scientists, they solve world problems, and only females can solve female problems. There are some things that you need to be facing to be able to engineer solutions to. So if we keep letting only males do these things, then we are going to have problems in particular ways. A female probably understands exactly what the issue is. Probably, I do not want to stereotype, but water issues, for instance, it has come out that if women use more water than males, and that if we have female engineers who knew how much trouble it took to probably go to the water side, a river side, and fetch water, etc., then piping water into our towns using indigenous methods and homegrown solutions may happen quicker. And so, and you cannot make a scientist after they have finished university. And that is why I believe that the plan now to go to the bottom, right from the beginning, primary basic STEM, started from childhood. Get young people interested in tinkering, in asking questions, get them curious. Let them think it's okay to wonder and want to solve a problem and want to push themselves further. That is a good idea. Then you, in secondary schools, the emphasis on particular places. The STEM academies are a good idea, but there are only a few. We want to let every school, each of the 700 government ones and then the private ones as well, understand that you must push STEM. And let us get this. It's not for the very bright. That is a misconception. It is for people who are interested. If a young person shows an interest in a course, let's help them achieve. Let's help them push in that way, because if someone who is not interested in science is forced to become a biologist, an engineer, etc., the chances are that they will abandon it halfway down and to follow their real passion. So let's get as many people involved as possible. UNESCO has particular projects that it does all over the world. And again, that is one difference. UNESCO does not start a project and force every country to do it. They look for countries that would benefit. There is a network called Unesco, which is vocational training, etc. Ghana is a member contributing to it. So a lot of the changes that are going on now in our technical and vocational sphere is very welcome. I know you just read an advert about upgrading. Young people should have the tools to begin to look at, to begin to be able to solve these problems. The reason why we are very dependent on imports, one of the reasons, I don't want to make it so simple, is because we produce nothing. But if we can begin to let people know that being an entrepreneur is not just about being a business person, it's not about deciding to go and buy and sell, but you can make things, you can change things, then our world is headed for a better place. It might be a 10 or 20 year thing down the line, but we must start it, and I'm very glad that focus is on it at the moment.
Wow, thank you very much. Now let's come to Free Senior High School. You've been going around schools, and you've heard a lot of people talking about looking at review and all that. Do you think that the Free Senior High School needs a review, just as people are talking about?
I think the Free Senior High School is a great thing. Again, wearing my UNESCO hat, it's almost required. SDG 4 says that education must be inclusive. It says that it must be accessible to all, and it says that it must be of good quality. If we take those three things, there is no way you can keep charging when you know that majority or a good percentage cannot afford it. The difficulty is the moment you take that decision not to charge, a lot of resources are needed, and that is why it needed a certain boldness to go for it. It's the right thing but it's the right thing that has a lot of consequences. So you have heard in the press people talking about the cost of it, is it fair, etc., etc. What I know and what the research has shown is that it is needed. We need to, and it's not just so that they could get jobs. Even if they are going to end up working for themselves, education is not just to get employment.
Good.
We need a literate population. We need an educated population, so that whatever job they find themselves doing, whatever they decide to do, at least they are literate, and that is how we progress. Now you ask me about a review. As with all projects, as with all initiatives, there's always time to sit back and look at it. This is what we planned, this is what we envisaged. It has happened for a while. Usually that happens around the 5-year mark.
Okay.
When it has gone a little bit.
Okay.
Everyone does it. You take a pause and you look at it. I think that with all projects, it should happen for this one as well.
Okay.
I do not want to talk about what I think the solution is going to be, because everyone speaks from where they are standing. So the voice of the mother in the village is as important as the voice of the mother in the city. So I'm hopeful that after 5 years, some kind of dialogue and discussion will go on. But I think that just for the fact that it has given access to every Ghanaian child who wants to go to school, I think this is something that must be applauded. If there are issues, they must be fixed, but really it must be applauded and it must be helped to stand.
Thank you very much. I happen to visit some of the schools, and sometimes it's amazing because I hear people talk about the fact that we don't have beds in the schools. For example, the space is limited. But I ask myself, so why would somebody like a student, a young guy, be interested in being in such a condition? Because everybody wants to go to school. Everybody has the desire to go to school. We talk about they don't have food. People, these are not true, but people talk about them. People have reasons why they say the free senior high school is this and that. But you ask yourself, the children that are involved, even if they are not sleeping on beds, they are interested in being at school. It tells you the yearning, the hunger in people's heart to be educated, just like you said, not because they want to find jobs at the end of the day, but you need to be educated so that at the end of the day, if you are putting your hands in anything, you understand what you are doing. I think the issue of having TVET and STEM education is actually helping people, become self-dependent. So that you finish school, if you finish a technical school, for instance, you know how to lay blocks. You may not need to go to the university before you begin to lay blocks. You can be laying blocks and get some money.
And the advantage is that our buildings will be straighter.
Yes.
Because the blocks are being laid by educated people.
That's right.
Who have the technical know-how. We have this term of mechanics. Because they are just groping in the dark.
Yes.
But if they have the education,
if
there is a vehicle in their school, and they have spent 3 to 4 years learning about the different sites and how to repair these things, life would be easier. I know there is a lot of opinion out there about free SHS. I'm very careful about comments, but I just wanted to say, you do not have to be in the boarding house. We don't have to close the boarding houses. That's not what I'm advocating. But I'm just saying, parents do not have to send their children to boarding schools. There is the option of letting them go in and come out. There are a lot of advantages to being together and having a lot of time to study. The free senior high school decision was taken. When it was taken, it was clear that there was going to be an infrastructure problem. And I think the government made it very clear and laid out the plan that we realized that our first problem is going to be we wouldn't have enough space. But this is what we are going to do. The difficulty is, do you say that because it will take 10 years to build the right infrastructure,
you need to
wait 10 years? And that's the difficulty. I hear the arguments that people are making, but that's the other side of it. I do not have a solution.
Yes.
But what I know is that at all costs we must try and educate our
let me ask you this. Do you think that we should get to a point where there are communities and community secondary schools? For instance, if you are in Tema, you have a lot of schools around your area. Why not everybody, if you are in this region, you are kept in that region. You don't move from your region to the other side of the country, so that the community gets involved. Because I remember those days when we had communal labor, for example, and we have people who schooled in some of these schools, and they are good to do. I mean, they are well to do, they have money. Why can't they go back to such schools and support or build structures? So if the school is in my region, then I'm interested in making sure that all the secondary schools in my region or where I come from are good, rather than sending my people to go to the Ashanti region or the Eastern region. Do you think that we should get to a point that's a question? Do you think that we should get to a point where we stop that flow of people moving from a certain constituency to another when we have secondary school right in front of them, so that if you are living in Tema, for example, Community 8, and you have medas around Community 8, you wouldn't go for boarding. You surely be in a day school. You get my point. But because you want to go to Kumasi, you don't know anyone in Kumasi, so you surely have to go to the boarding house, and that becomes, in that sense, a burden on government. What do you think?
Well, I think we've signed a lot of human rights conventions. So to start with, it's very difficult to restrict people. You cannot just say you can't go here for the very reason. But I think inside your question is that point that we can use the facilities where we are. Unfortunately, because of how our education started, the so-called good schools are clustered in particular places, and every parent wanting the best for their child wants them to go in a particular direction. Over the years, certain regions have been associated with good education. The facts don't support it, which they will publish it.
Yes.
Facts don't support it. But in the minds of parents, certain schools have a better reputation. So it is going to be difficult. You would recall that there has been a lot of brouhaha about community day schools.
Yes.
The idea of community day schools came up to solve this problem. But why don't we have schools in people's communities? There are those who probably want to help their parents sell. So why don't they go to school, come back and help? But they proved unpopular. In fact, I know that now some day schools are being converted into boarding schools.
Wow.
They are building because no one would come. Everyone sees it as an opportunity to move. But as a country, it is good for social cohesion as well. Mixing us up right from secondary school allows you to understand other people. If for the first time your dorm mate or next bed mate is 500 miles away from you, and you develop a friendship, you understand that we are all one.
So even though it comes with the costs, the benefits are
also there. And the real issue finally is that we do not want to go to these community schools. I don't think it's the doing of the government. Everyone wants to go away to school. So until we can get that out of our psyche as a people and patronize our local schools, like we do at JHS and primary, we will continue to have this.
Thank you very much. So I'm here with the Secretary General, UNESCO Ghana Commission, Mrs. Anna Sewa Nekwetete, and we are talking about UNESCO's impact and influence on Ghana's education. It's about 7 minutes to the end of the program. I want to activate the phone lines for you to call in, and if you have any contribution or question, then you ask. It's 0302 20 80 80, 0302 20 80 80. So you can give us a call and you can ask a question or make a submission. Thank you very much. All right, now, so the girl child education, how do you see it in Ghana? Are girls getting involved in education? I remember a song that we used to send your girl child to school, and we felt that when you teach a child, at the end of the day, the child is going to go to the girl is going to end up in the kitchen, and so we felt it was not necessary to send your girl child to school. You are here today. I read your profile. In fact, when you were sending I think Madam Monica was sending me, she just sent me a little of it. If I wanted to read a lot about you, I think I'll need about 6 pages to write the kind of things you do. Girl child education in Ghana, how do you say it?
And I think that campaign from the 90s was very successful. Everyone remembers
it.
In Ghana today, we've had females stand for president. We've had female chief justices, etc. The reason why these particular things are important is to show us all that we can all do the same thing. I mean, taking away the limitation of individual strength, etc. there is no discernible difference between the brain of male and female as regarding particular jobs.
Okay.
And so we need to push that into the heads of people, and particularly into the heads of the girl child, because they are the ones who have been acculturated to believe that they are destined for certain professions, that it's nursing or teaching for them, that because they are going to marry and have children, they must go for the softer professions, etc. So a lot of work is being done, and I must admit, not just by UNESCO, NGOs, individuals, I think the First Lady, Second Lady,
yes.
A lot of people have programs targeting young people at the university, targeting young people everywhere. And the idea is that we want them to understand that they can be all that they want.
They can be all that they want. There's a call on the line. Let's pick this. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please, your name and where you're calling us from.
Davidson from Accra.
Davidson from Accra. Please, Davidson, talk to us.
All right. I'm asking, let's say somebody has developed a methodology for reading.
Okay.
Reading, and wants to help, the teachers and help the students as well. How can that person get in touch with a UNESCO and then?
So what you're saying is that someone has developed a system, a way of teaching.
Yes.
And you want to know who the person should, contact.
Yes.
For assistance. Or so you talk about UNESCO.
Yes.
Okay, so madam, if someone develops something like that, what should they do?
There are a lot of questions I'd like to ask first, but let me just say that our offices are within the Ministry of Education, and that as a first conversation, a person should reach out to us, and then we begin to talk. Our email address is info@unescoghana.gov.gh. info@unescoghana, one word, .gov.gh.
Okay.
They can just send us an email or call or come to the offices. We will get in touch and we'll begin the discussion. It is very likely we will steer them towards someone rather than ourselves, but we can start the conversation.
Okay. All right. So earlier you talk about the fact that you are to ensure that we are all doing the same thing, or the thing that the whole UN has decided for member nations, countries. Now, so sitting where you are, do you think that Ghana is on track? Are we doing the right things? Are we getting the results? Somebody out there, I hear people talk a lot about, let me say it this way, they don't have a lot of information. And so most times the things we hear on radio or read in the newspapers is what we think is the truth. But the truth lies with people like you sitting here. Where are we as a country? Are we going? Are we achieving? Are we getting the results?
Ghana is doing well in education. I can tell you that straight up. In September this year, there's going to be a huge conference in New York. It's called the Transforming Education Summit.
Okay.
And all the presidents of the countries that are part of the UN will come in. And the idea is to discuss what we are doing, how countries are marching towards the SDG4, what the issues are, etc. Already, Ghana has been approached to use some of the things we are doing as examples of best practice. We know that we have a voice on the world stage. We are respected. This is not to say that we are there yet.
Okay.
And at least the fact that we recognize where our issues are and we have plans towards them is something. I think we need the Ghanaian populace to back us. And then by us, I mean the technical people who are getting the work done.
Okay.
I know it's very easy to attack the politicians, etc. Of course, it's under political leadership. But there are good people getting the work done in the various agencies day in and day out, pushing and making sure that we go forward. And I think we are on the right track.
Wow, thank you very much. So finally, what will you tell someone who is listening to us this morning? What role should we play? We're asking you what you do as a people. What should we do to support government to achieve the quality education that it seems to proclaim?
I think we should get information first and foremost. And that's why programs like yours need to be commended. A lot of people speak from an uninformed place. And so as soon as they finish, but who told you this? That's not what is happening. Are you just making these things up? A lot of the information out there is anecdotal and may not necessarily be true.
Yes.
So if you want information, if you have a problem, if you have a solution, if there is a way you want to dialogue with us, please let us begin to speak. Whatever your inclination, our governments go and come, but these institutions stay and propel our government's agenda. So find out the information and help. A good thing is happening here. If some of these programs were no longer in existence, so many people will suffer. So let's not just tear it down for political expediency. Let us look at what could be ameliorated and let's push for improvement. That's what we do. We go to our other agents and say, no, this is not going as well as it could. Can you do it better, etc. Quietly, without going into the public. And I'm calling people to help us. So a lot of the things that we do, whether it's talking about science, talking about girl-child, bullying, talking about tolerance, STEM, all of the projects that we are involved in, higher education, early childhood education, seek information. Our offices are open. We are advocates as well. So if we can help in any way, if you want us to come and speak to you in your school, in your areas, we are happy to do so. Our offices are open 8 to 5. And via email as well. Kindly get in touch.
Okay, so if someone wants to contact you, so you've given us your. Can you go over that address again? How to get in touch with you?
Our website is www.unescoghana as one word .gov.gh. unescoghana.gov.gh. And our email address is just info@unescoghana.gov.gh. If you forget it and you go on the website, just Google Ghana Commission for UNESCO. It will take you to our website. You can contact us from there, and someone will speak to you. If it's about education, natural science, social, human science, communication, and information. And our website is a good store to tells you what we do.
Thank you very much. That was Mrs. Amasewa Nekwetete, Secretary General UNESCO Ghana Commission.
Thank you very much for having me. Such a pleasure.
It's a blessing having you as well. I think you've educated us on a lot of issues, and we appreciate you for coming. Thank you very much. I think the minister is happy listening to you this morning.
I hope so.
All right, so that has been the Transformation Agenda series on education. We thank God for everything that He has done, bringing us Mrs. Amasewa Nekwetete, the Secretary General, UNESCO Ghana Commission. She's been here since 7 a.m. and she's educated us on a lot of things, what they've been doing and how she sees Ghana's education, and she's concluding that Ghana's education is on track. Let us all do well and support government. I keep telling you, the Ministry of Education is not a political party. If it was a political party, the minister would not allow us to do the show even on Class FM. It's not a political party. And I also want to tell you that some of the information you see are not true. I've been with Class FM since 2019. We hear a lot of information, news, things, stuff. But let me tell you, come and call Robert Israel and tell him that this is what I've heard. He's going to ask you 1,000 questions. And so sometimes we don't talk about a lot of things, not because we don't break news. It's because we don't believe that the thing is true. You need to verify and make sure that what we are putting out there is credible, is complete. So please, I would like to talk to all of us, those working in the media houses, please, before you come out to say something, just make sure. Recently, something was said about the Minister for Education. It came out that it wasn't so. Don't be quick to just go out there and be spilling things that are not true. God bless you. Stay safe. Thank you very much, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. God bless you so much for your contribution for this country. Remember everything that you are doing for this country. I believe that there are a lot of things you're going to do in the next 4 years. Honorable Dr. Yao Osebuchum, baby will be an Wate. You're doing very well with your deputy, Honorable Reverend John Timfodwa. God bless you. And all the ministers, the directors of education, Dr. Nkansa, Mr. Paddy, Mrs. Angela Fran, all those are the secretariat at the Ministry of Education, from the reception to everybody. We're going to take a time and go to the Ministry of Education, give you a documentary, show you what happens from the reception to all the rooms at the Education Ministry. And we appreciate that a lot goes on in this country. That's why we are all sitting here speaking English today. We will not do it well as we're supposed to, but the Ministry of Education has done so much over the years, so we need to appreciate them for what they've done. My name is Abraham Edu. I'm out here. I'm going to see you next week. Next is Read to Inspire with our brother William. Take care of yourself, be good, and stay safe. Bye.